couple more days, and then it'll clear up and the temperature will warm up. It's been a little chilly. So some fun, exciting news, I think, for Mount Soma is the kitchen. We're calling it Soma's Kitchen. The restaurant will be open now 7 days a week, limited hours. I mean, on weekends and holidays and like that, the hours will be more extended. But during the week, we'll be open for breakfast and also for a couple hours over lunch. And we'll see how it goes from there. It's a lot of fun, you know. We're having a great group, a great staff, and we're all just enjoying working together. We laugh a lot, and it's just a really positive energy. And just, I mean, I've talked about this maybe before, but just a side note, that's the one thing you want. If there's a, you know, some people just naturally, and it's okay. I mean, but they tend to be negative or, you know, look at the glass as half full or half empty, that is to say. And just always, for whatever reason, kind of create conflict or confrontation. God love them, you know, but it's not wise to keep them in the mix, you know. They unless you can find something where they go off on their own and they're doing their thing in their office or whatever and not interacting that much with other people, it's not worth having them on the team, you know. I hate to say it. But what else? Moving on. This thing with the judges, you know, they have little local federal judges, some little area in Hawaii or any state in the union, you know. And these guys, for some reason, I don't even get that they can do this, but they, you know, the president will make an executive order or whatever, and these little local judges can block the whole thing nationally. And they've done that now over 200 times on Trump's executive orders, I guess it is. I just think it's crazy. I mean, if it's any president, I don't think a little local judge should have any right to do that. And I think evidently the Supreme Court is taking a look at it. And boy, I sure do hope they straighten that out, you know, because it just doesn't make any sense to me, you know, or a lot of people. Now, here's something else that's pretty cool. See this thing? This is biodegradable. It's an eco-friendly, you know, those little plastic bags we tend to get at the grocery store or all over. They're just so common. And they're not biodegradable. They're just dumped by the probably millions in the oceans. And I understand that all through the Pacific Rim, you know, Indonesia and up through China, they dump them in, and then the currents carry them over to the coast of California. And I've been saying for so long, I think probably on the podcast I've mentioned it, why don't they make those things biodegradable? It's not that hard. And here you go. These are from India, and that's what they're doing in India. I don't know how prevalent they are, but they're great and they're simple. And the only reason I can think of where that would get blocked would be money. Are they, you know, a tenth of a penny more expensive than the plastic ones? Or I don't know. I mean, is somebody making money on every single little plastic one so they don't want to switch? I don't get it. But there are all kinds of solutions like that across the board. It's not that we don't have the technologies to heal the planet in a very healthy way, but it's just the approaches are really pitiful. So anyway, that's my spiel on that. Global conflicts, like we predicted, we've been predicting for years, and we do it every New Year's, and we did it, you know, just this past January again. They're going to keep up for a while longer, and they're just so inane and so ridiculous and so unnecessary. And And like, what's the motivation? Even nationally, what in the world is the motivation for not wanting to deport illegals, particularly the ones that are clearly criminals? And you can, people do suspect that it might be because a lot of Democrats want to. There's Scott now. He's on the road, and so actually in the air, he's traveling. And so, sorry, I just woke up. Can be ready in 5 minutes. Let me tell him okay. He's in Hawaii now, I think. But at any rate, what was I talking about? The just the absurdity of the whole thing. It's going to change. Things are going to get better. We'll start seeing resolution of all these conflicts and all this. It'll start to take place. The Democrats, who evidently are the ones that are, blocking the deportation of the illegal immigrant criminals, especially. People think their motivation is that they want votes, and they think that if these what do you call them, undocumented aliens are allowed to stay here, they'll vote in favor of the Democrats. In California, it's even illegal to show your ID when you go to vote. You're not even allowed to do that. I think that's pretty crazy. Anyway, all that's and we could go on, and I think the vast majority of people realize how absurd so much of what's going on is. It's going to change. It's going to sort out. Things are going to get better, and it's going to get better soon, So we just hang in there. It's all going to be fine. It's all going to be fine, I have something in my notes here. I don't even understand what I was trying to say. I'll remember. Short-term adjustments for long-term gain. Oh, yeah. That's about this whole thing with the tariffs and a lot of the different. Let's stick with tariffs. There are other things as well, but the government is really being attacked for these tariffs, saying that, oh, look, the price of this has gone up, or then they even speculate if we can't buy stuff from China because of the tariffs are so high, there won't be any Christmas presents for the children. I mean, but these are short-term changes with the tariffs, and they're being used to negotiate as negotiating tools, not as permanently established laws that go in perpetuity. Even back when I got an MBA years ago, it was clearly understood that tariffs are damaging. Allow countries that can manufacture something more cheaply, let them do it. And then everybody benefits from lower prices. But the thing is, it's not that simple. And there are other conflicts between nations, and to resolve those other conflicts, tariffs in the short run can be a powerful negotiating tool to just straighten everything out. And, in an ideal utopian world, oh yeah, let's all just, let whoever can manufacture things most cheaply do it. But there's just so much more to it than that. So all that's going to shake out too. And the point is that these are short-term adjustments, and that will facilitate negotiations for a long-term gain. But boy, people don't want it. The Chinese, they say, approach the economy with eyes on decades in the future. Whereas the United States, it's the next quarter, it's the next 3 months, how to maximize profits there, with no regard to the long term. And that's short-term adjustments to the long-term detriment, if with that kind of mentality. So, and here's another thing that I want to talk a little bit about health. There is so much going on in the world today as far as advancements in healthcare, and there's so much on the internet about it, and it's become a hobby of mine. There's Scotty. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, sorry.
That's all right. We started without you. Okay, but right now I'm talking, and you stepped in just the right time, I think, because I think might have some comments on this. But right now we're talking about healthcare and just the whole field of health, and how it seems I've been into this on and off. Like I say about myself, I'm into diet and exercise, but when I get busy with my work and everything, the first two things that fall off are diet and exercise. But even though I'm really busy now, I've made a commitment to myself that I'm not going to do that. So I am taking the time to get my exercise and watch my diet, and I'm glad that I'm doing it. And so there's so much insights every decade or so. The changes, the new insights are incredible, and what they were doing 30 years ago is nowhere near the sophistication of what they're doing now. And with artificial intelligence rising, the research that's going to be done with artificial intelligence could be dramatic, the improvement. So it's an exciting, really exciting time to be alive. And not just with respect to healthcare, but specifically focusing on healthcare. And one thing I've noticed, things are happening so fast that a lot of the medical practitioners, they're not keeping up with it. It's understandable. I get it. They have a routine. They have an approach. This is what they do. This is what they were taught in med school. And I'm not talking about just guys that have been out of med school for 20 years. I'm talking about guys that have been out for 2 years. And so there's so much cutting edge. And I watch YouTube a lot. And there are a lot of people on YouTube that they're PhDs, researchers, scientists. Some of them are MDs, some of them are, microbiologists or whatever. But it is well worth listening to what they say. And and so, they talk about how to get or how to be healthy. I think there's one simple answer to that. And if you can do just this one thing, everything else will be fine. And that is make it your hobby. And there's so many different ways to go with how to make it your hobby. Just start paying attention to your health. It can start as something as simple as just go for one walk around the house once each morning, as an example. And you do that, and it just gets you going. It gets the body juices moving, Then maybe you'll want to do 2 laps around the house. No sense in jogging or running. You don't have to do that. If you want to, great, but you don't have to. And slowly, things just change. And then if you go on YouTube and listen to some of these people, their insights are profound, and it's fabulous, And it becomes fascinating. And as I say, fascination, that's my favorite emotion. When you become fascinated with something, that's the greatest motivation to keep going with it. And I must say right now, I'm fascinated with the whole diet, exercise, healthcare arena. There's this one guy, he's on YouTube, and I've only watched him a few minutes, but he does these very brief interviews. He's walking along the beach or outside of a gym, or I don't know where he is. And he sees somebody who's in good shape, and he just walks up to him and says, "Hey, I'm doing these interviews. I can see you're in good shape. What do you do?" And one thing there that I find the most interesting about all of that, they all do something different. They all have an approach that works for them. Some of them run, some of them don't run, some of them lift weights, some of them do CrossFit, which I I don't know. That's pretty extreme. But
Mm.
and diet, some of them really watch their diet carefully. Supplements, some of them are hugely into supplements. Some of them don't pay any attention. They just try to eat healthy. Common denominators is they don't smoke. I don't think there's been a single person he's approached that I saw uh, that smoked cigarettes. And another thing is, as far as drinking alcohol, most of them don't touch alcohol, and a few that do it very little, you know. But there's an interesting thing that's out now, and they say that not getting this is interesting. Do you know this one, Scotty? Not getting sufficient omega-3 fatty acids is more detrimental to your health than smoking cigarettes.
Wow.
Have you heard? Yeah, isn't that something?
I haven't
That's
heard much.
yeah.
No.
I'm pretty sure that's Rhonda Patrick. She's worth searching on YouTube. Rhonda Rhonda Patrick, and she's a big omega-3 advocate. The thing is, how do you get omega-3s? Especially if you're a vegetarian, a lot of what this cutting edge knowledge has to say is difficult. Getting sufficient omega-3s, if that can be done, there are things you can do. I think chia seeds, and different things. But what they recommend is a healthy source of fish oil, even eating fish. But now for a vegetarian, that becomes a problem. But I think it's worth knowing these things. And then you can approach it from a vegetarian approach or not, whatever you prefer. Also, so I would say their number one thing is no processed foods. There are things there are studies there that I think one French fry that's cooked in unhealthy oil is as bad as smoking one cigarette. I mean, it's unbelievable the stuff that's coming out. And so the other thing is, processed food. If it comes in a package, don't eat it. Kind of an idea. Omega-3s, and then protein. Getting sufficient protein. And they recommend as much as 1 gram per pound of body weight. Some people even higher. That's a hefty dose. But if you can even do half of that, it's good. And how do you get that much protein, especially if you're a vegetarian? Well, there's always protein powder. There's whey protein, and there's two forms. It comes in either way. I'd go with grass-fed, but they have grass-fed whey protein. They also have grass-fed whey protein isolate. The concentrate just has it's more like fatty things or more milk sort of. Isolate is just the isolating the protein itself. There's another thing that I can hardly believe their claims are right. They might be. It's a company called, the product is called Perfect Aminos. And evidently just a few servings of that a day gives you all the protein you need. That's at least their claim. I wouldn't believe that, but certainly as a supplement, and it's a vegan source, so anybody could do that. And you can Google it or find it on YouTube, I guess, Perfect Aminos. It's called, or Perfect Amino. I do that every day. So there's Rhonda Patrick. It's worth listening to her. She's way into different kind of supplements and things. And she has a lot to say, and it's all very interesting. Of course, if you listen to all of it and did all of it, you'd be taking a couple of handfuls of supplements a day. So here I think we're just talking about probably the highlights or the best of the best. Vitamin D, really inexpensive, but that's one that they're huge advocates of across the board, And just a reminder, I'm not doing this as a medical professional. I'm just some guy who is into it and reading about it on the internet. So the standard disclaimer would be talk to your doctor, right? Another guy that I really like listening to is Thomas. Oh, I left out the A-L in my notes. It's Thomas, and last name DeLauer, Delauer. he's a big muscle guy, and he's big into supplements, and he advocates buying different supplements. He gets a cut out of that, so keep that in mind. He makes money doing it, but nevertheless, he's clearly into the field, and he does it because he loves it. And he's also highly knowledgeable. And all of these guys, Rhonda Patrick, Thomas DeLauer, another guy called Ben Azadi, Azadi, they interview these PhDs. I mean, hundreds of them from all over the world they'll interview, and highly, incredibly knowledgeable people. And that's another thing. We're pretty much across the board. Yeah, they talk about people eat too many carbohydrates, too much processed food, too much carbohydrate, not enough protein, and also not enough healthy fats. They're big into omega-3s like fish oil. Oh, and then this is an interesting thing. Do you know about this study? There's coconut oil, and everybody, coconut oil is good for you. And then the active ingredient, I guess you'd say, is omega MCTs, or constituents of coconut oil. And they all have little different value, different qualities, different influences. But there's one called C8, the carbon change C8. And the thing about C8 is it's almost like a direct source of something called ketones. And then ketones are an amazing thing. They feed the brain. For a long time, and this goes back, I think no more than probably 20 or 30 years, I guess, they thought that ketones, it was glucose that fed the brain. And now they're realizing that ketones is even a major source of feeding the brain. Well, this C8 is a source of ketones. And it goes directly, stay out of too much of the details of the physiology, but it goes directly into the bloodstream and feeds the brain. And so anyway, I like it. I have a thing of C8. It's not expensive. It's a powder. You can get it, I guess, in liquid, but I get the powder. And I get benefit from it, especially if your brain is feeling tired or something. You might try it, Another thing I think it's good to know about allulose. You know what allulose is, Scotty?
No.
Allulose. Allulose it's sugar, but it's and I'm sure it's been synthesized or whatever. Well, no, actually, it does come in different sources naturally, but I just buy the powder, and you use it as a sugar substitute. And the main thing about it is it doesn't spike glucose. See, they say that the number one thing for health is to control, they'll say inflammation, or another way of saying it is to control insulin. You have to control insulin. And if you eat sugar, it spikes insulin. And once in a while that can be all right, especially if you're about to exercise or whatever, but this constant up and down spiking insulin all day long, spiking sugar all day long, very bad for the health. They compare it to if you're trying to get some work done in your office, and every 10 minutes somebody comes in and talks to you. That's like every so often, frequently, boom, spike insulin. You don't get anything done, and it tears down the body. Actually, it's damaging to the cells, the mitochondria, to do that. So allulose is a good way to get something that's a sweetener. And there are other things, monk fruit, stevia, which some people don't like, even cinnamon. But all this is so worthwhile. I'm not really trying to give you all the information because I couldn't possibly. There's so much, and there's so much I don't even know. It goes on and on. But hopefully this will inspire you to take a look at it yourself. Maybe check out these people and look into different kinds of things. They say that if the value of exercise could be put into a pill, it'd be the number one most prescribed product in the world. And it doesn't take all that much exercise to get huge benefits. If you could go for a 10-minute walk after each major meal you have in a day, huge benefit. Because what that does, you eat and spikes insulin, but if you go for a walk, it sublimates that, I guess would be the word, and helps metabolize what you just ate. Whereas eating a big meal and going to sleep does the opposite, you know. There's so much there, so much. So I would really encourage you to just give it a chance. And like this one guy, this Body by Mark, it's called really the one takeaway from him when he interviews all these people that are in shape, and he just picks them at random on the beach or whatever and says, "Hey, can I ask you what you do? I can see you're in good shape." It's all different. Some people run, some people go for walks, some people lift weights, some people don't. And here's the thing: the key is to find something that you enjoy, that fascinates you. Oh, and I was going to say this other thing, walking. I was always bored by going for walks. It was boring for me, you know. Even though we live in the mountains here, there are all kinds of beautiful walks that people go on. Doesn't excite me. Uh, but then I forget which of these guys. They all talk about it though. Count your steps. And okay, how are you going to count your steps? That's really boring.
Morning.
And so I found this one thing that is fabulous. It's a pedometer. It counts your steps. You can get this thing on Amazon. It's $15. I like it so much I bought two, and it's by a company called Neskla, Neskla, and I love it. And now it's a game. See, you make a game out of all this. It's a game now. I like to count my steps, and it got me going. And I used to just walk from my house to the Punji Lakshmi's house and back, you know. And then I started extending it, counting my steps. You know, it's so much fun. Oh, I even have it on. Let's see. Yeah, I sure do. See, they look like this. You can hang it around your neck or in your pocket or whatever. I wouldn't recommend clipping it on your belt. I started that way, but what happened is they fall off and then you got to go looking for it. But counting steps, make it fun. All of this, you just make it fun. And if you can make it, see, I don't even like the word challenging, because challenging, like, oh God, okay, there's another challenge. Life is a challenge. Oh no, but it's not like that. Do what you can do to find something that is enjoyable. I've just scratched the surface here. There's so much, and the potential of the world today. We want to stick around. We want to do what you can to stay alive. There's a whole other fields I didn't even mention. I have mentioned it in the past. Peptides, researching peptides. A lot of these guys talk about peptides. What's that other guy's name that you watched? Oh, Huberman is his name.
Huber.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Huber. Yeah, Huber or Huberman.
Huberman.
Huberman. Yeah. You'll find him. How do you spell it? Heuberman, I guess.
Yeah, it's either that or HU. It's yeah.
He's a researcher at Stanford, teaches ophthalmology or something at the medical school there, I guess, and he's hugely into all this stuff. And it's just fun. Make it a hobby. There's so many different possibilities. Find an aspect of it that you'll enjoy doing. That's the best hobby you can have for your life, in your life. It's the one simple solution to being healthy, really, generally speaking. I mean, if you have some kind of disease or something, but never mind. All right. Anything else, Scotty?
No, but it's just interesting how in the world today there's so many opposites, and it seems like there's just the same thing happening in this health thing. There's the best of the best and there's the worst of the worst that's happening right now. And you know, it's polarizing people, because you see when you go in there in the grocery stores, like you were saying, all the processed food and all the just garbage that's out there, and you know, we got to stop, you know. And we got to start going to those whole foods and making your food and doing things that are, you know, just more beneficial for you.
Yeah, RFK Jr. is interesting. And just things I've heard him say that the thing is the government moves so slowly and he's working on this. And I know he knows all about peptides. I know he knows all about this and that. But how much can you do? And I'd love to see him get it all done. Even that pyramid where years ago, decades ago, they created it and you should eat just this much protein and all this much carb. It's all completely upside down. Uh, anyway, yeah, I'm all these thoughts. We could spend hours and hours talking about this and still just scratch the surface. But I'm really getting into the depth of it. The science of the physiology and anyway, it's great stuff. My hope for you is that on some level, in your own way, to whatever degree, but at least you get started with it and get into something because it will save your life. Okay. Anything else, Scotty?
No, happy Mother's Day.
Oh, that's right. I was going to start that way. I forgot. Yeah. Happy Mother's Day. Yeah. All right. Take care.